All right, Lacy, thank you so very much. This is true confessions right now, Lacy. I'm gonna have to get with you at some point. I failed to start the recording at the beginning of the gathering. So I'm gonna have to get you to do that again for me. We'll schedule a time and just get you to do a tool time with Lacy on video, because we have people in the chat asking, is there gonna be a recording? That's my fault, guys. This is our first one, and I'm asking for grace
I'll
because
happily give it to you. I just gave you information. Now, what you think about it is up to you.
hey, if you don't take anything else away from this gathering, please remember,
Dirty
dirty
hose
hose
spread
spread
disease.
disease. Thank you so much, Lacy. We always love it when you do your tool times. You're hilarious, and you do it with a straight face while all of us are rolling on the floor. Thank you so much, and we will see you for another tool time in a future gathering, I am sure. All right, guys. So let's see. That was tool time with Lacy. I hope you guys enjoy her as much as I do every single time I have seen her do a tool time, because she is hilarious. And how she does it with a straight face, I don't know, because usually the room is just in hysterics while she's talking. So we are going to go now to, I guess we'll call that our appetizer. Next is our main dish. We are going to go to our main speaker, who is Jenny Bewley. She is in Statham, Georgia, in the Statham chapter. She runs Hidden Gardens. That is her business. Jenny, we are so excited to have you here tonight to talk with us about garden planning. Guys, I saw Jenny do a video on Facebook, and my mind was like, it was just completely blown, because I'm like, how did I not think that this is how I should plan my garden? I hope you guys get from her as much as I have gotten from just a few things that I have heard her say and watched in her videos. She's gonna do awesome. Remember, you guys have been doing great using the Q&A. Again, that chat is flying. So if you have a question, please put it in the Q&A. We are trying to watch the chat, but if you can't find your Q&A, say something in the chat and we'll try and get you to your Q&A. But use that Q&A because it is a lot easier, and it makes sure we can make sure that she doesn't miss any questions that way, because I'm sure you'll have some questions on this stuff. Jenny, thanks for being here. We're so excited to have you and can't wait to hear everything that you have. Take it away.
Okay, hey friends, my name is Jenny, like Ginger said, and I am just outside of Athens, Georgia. And they have asked me to talk about garden planning. My actual, I guess, career is working with plant breeders and evaluating annual bedding plants and their performance in the garden. And then my passion project, I guess, is creating vegetable gardens for local folks to be able to grow fun heirloom plants in their garden. So as you can extrapolate, that would both of those things do entail a lot of planning, so that the plants are ready to go in the ground at a certain time or ready to go into a plant sale at a certain time. So they asked me to share my method of garden planning. So that is what I was going to talk to you about. It's not nearly as exciting or funny or fun as Lacy's tool time, but if I don't take up too much time, I did have two tools that I was going to share with you. We'll see. So I made a PowerPoint presentation, and I'm going to share that. And then afterward, I will show you my organization technique after I explain it to you. Hold on one second. Oh no. Okay, well, we'll just start here. As most of the stuff I had already told you on the first slides. So to start off with, there are a couple of things that you just need to refresh your memory with. Annual plants are plants that do not live through the winter in the area where you are. So if you want them to be in your garden this year and in your garden next year, you would have to plant them this year, and then you would have to plant them again next year. For example, petunias may not be where I am. They won't make it through the winter, so I'll plant petunias this year, and if I want them again next year, I'll plant them again next year. Those will be an annual plant. A perennial plant is going to be one that I can put into my garden this year. It's going to make it through the winter, and then it's going to come back next year, and hopefully more than 1 year. I don't know why my PowerPoint is not going. Let's see. Ginger, I might.
Penny, I had to stop your share earlier so that we could get our welcome screen going. Maybe do a new share.
Okay.
Try that. So maybe close out of that and.
Yeah, that's what I'm having trouble. I can't actually close out of it. Let me try this. Huh. Okay, stop share. Okay. No, not that. This.
Thanks for bearing with us, guys. We're still.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay.
Still new. Here we go.
Okay. Okay, there we go. So I'm just going to give you some background information that will help you in this big planning process at the end. So the first thing that I guess some people are, it is a little bit confusing when you're talking about USDA hardiness zones. It is one piece of information that's important in helping with the plants that you select to put into your garden. And it seems really big and important, but it is really just one piece. It does, you can see the map on there. It's got the country labeled by color according to the average minimum temperature in your area. So it goes from zone 1 all the way down to zone 13. And then they have subcategories. So each zone 1 is going to be a 10-degree difference. And then they split that further down into 1A, which is 5 degrees, and 1B, which is 5 degrees. So zone 1 is going to be super duper cold. The minimum temperature average in the winter is going to be -60 to -50. And then it's going to go all the way down to like Puerto Rico, where you have zone 13, where the average minimum low is 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's a huge difference. And the hardiness zones are going to pertain only to plants that you put into the ground. If you are going to try to have like a tree in a pot, you're going to have to adjust by subtracting 2 hardiness zones. So for me right here, I am in zone 7B. So if I want to have a tree in a pot and I want to know for sure that it's going to make it through the winter, I'm going to choose one that would be hardy to zone 5B. Because the pots are, you know, when the wind is going by, they're not protected by the ground, and they do get a little bit colder. The hardiness zone is going to indicate whether a plant will survive the winter and be considered a perennial in your area. So something that is a perennial in Florida, oftentimes you'll see houseplants in Florida that are planted as shrubbery. So their low temperature is a lot higher, so those plants are going to make it through the winter. But if you tried to plant pothos outside in New England, it would not be a perennial there. So the USDA hardiness zone is a broad overview. It doesn't take into account little nuances and microclimates, like if you live at the bottom of a hill, that will tend to get colder than even just your next door neighbor. It's a useful guide, but it is not the only thing that you need to take into account. So this is another map created by the American Horticultural Society, and it's the heat zone map. So it's kind of the sister to the hardiness zone map. And this map is also color coded, as you can see, but it gives you the information about the hot days in your area of the country. So if you look at the legend over in the side, I think it's, I can't really see it, but I think it goes 1 to 12. Zone 1 is going to have, this is going to track the number of days on average that your area has above 86 degrees. Once we start getting into the high temperatures during the day and at night, plants can start to really shut down. They can shut down flowering and become more susceptible to disease. So this is a really, I'm sorry, excuse me, I'm losing my voice a little bit. This is a really important part of selecting plants that are going to thrive in your area. So zone 1, the coolest part of the country is only, they have less than 1 day above 86 degrees. But if you go down to the southern part of the United States, zone 12, where we have greater than 210 days above 86 degrees. Another thing that is super important to learn about your area when you're trying to plan your garden is your frost dates. The first frost date is going to happen in the fall after the summer. And then your last frost date is going to be the last time at the end of winter when it frosts. So I was looking, you can look this up online in a lot of different places, but this little website right here, morningshores.com, had a really cool little tool where you can just enter your zip code and then it pulls up your area and it gives you all of this information. So it tells me, I put in my zip code and it tells me that I'm in Jefferson, Georgia. The last frost date is April 3rd. My first frost date is November 1st. And then this next line is is a really cool piece of information. It says that I have at least 211 freeze-free days in a year. And that is an important piece of information because if I live in a place, so I live here in Georgia, we have a very long growing season, so we can grow a lot of different things. But up north where you would have fewer freeze-free days, you would be able to look at that and say, oh, I only have 60 freeze-free days in a year. And that would tell me that when I'm looking at a tomato that says that it takes 90 days to maturity, that I wouldn't have enough freeze-free days to actually grow that variety. So that is really useful. Another very important tool in planning is going to be being able to read your seed packet, which sounds like, duh, I can read a seed packet. But they put information on there. A good seed packet will have all of this information on it, but a lot of them are really not, they're kind of vague. So I really like Baker Creek. They have on most of their seed packets, they have most of the information that you're going to need. But so you want to know, things that you'll want to know are days to maturity. And I think that I mentioned this earlier. That's when you put the seed in the soil, the number of days until you can actually harvest that product, whether it be a flower or a fruit or a leaf. Your days to germination is going to be the number of days from the time you put that seed in the soil until you see the cotyledons come up. Your timing is going to be, for example, how many days or how many weeks rather before your last frost do you want to sow these seeds so that they're ready for planting in the garden when it's appropriate in your part of the country. Planting depth and seed spacing is also very important. Usually, from my experience, the times that I've had the biggest failures are when I failed to look up or understand what the seed packet meant when it said, when it was describing planting depth. Some seeds need light in order to germinate. Some seeds need absolute darkness in order to germinate. And if you give a seed that needs light, complete darkness, or give a seed that needs darkness, light, you're going to inhibit or completely make them not germinate at all. So on your seed packet, you'll kind of have to sometimes extrapolate the special instructions, but they oftentimes will put special instructions in there. Some will suggest soaking okra seeds. They sometimes suggest soaking for 6 to 12 hours before planting them. They'll tell you if bottom heat can aid germination, if light will inhibit germination, or if seeds need light. Sometimes it'll say, like for basil, it'll say remove the flowers to prolong the harvest, whether things need staked or trellised once you plant them into the garden. And like I said, a lot of, like, especially if you're getting seeds from the dollar store or from some bonus pack that they just put in, all it says is marigold and gives you no information. If anytime that you feel like you're missing information, if you Google search, you can find a plethora of information, but it's not necessarily always good information. So I have found that when you're going into the search engine, if you type in the words exactly culture sheet for whatever crop you're looking for from seed, and then that pulls up, when you use the word culture sheet, I think is the key, it pulls up like grower information, like from a greenhouse grower. So you'll have all of these choices to choose a link from a professional grower or a seed company. And that is going to give you really scientific information as opposed to somebody's random blog, which tells you how they are having, it's, interesting and how they're having success growing petunias, but it might not be an actual effective way for everybody to grow petunias. This is another, like 15 years ago, I was ordering seeds and I saw this in the catalog and it was $3 and I thought, all right. And it is literally the best $3 I've ever spent. And I still have mine from 15 years ago. I had to go back today and draw the line on and kind of fill in some of the information so that I could share this with you. But this tool, it provides you with information about 21 different common garden plants. So it has onions, peas, spinach, cabbage, this is really just vegetable plants. But it has this handy dandy little red line, which you can see on the slide, but you can also see it here. And I'm going to line this line up with my frost-free date here, which I told you is April 15th. So if I line the red line up with my last frost date, this tool gives me, for my region, all of the information that I need to plan my garden. It tells me when the first time that I can sow or when I should sow my seeds indoors. So whatever crop this is right here, which I can't read backwards, I would sow it indoors here, follow it up, and it tells you what week you would do that in order to plant out in your area. So it tells you FP, tells you when is the first time you can safely plant that into your garden. SI tells you when you would want to sow it indoors so that it's ready for your first planting outside. The little check marks tell you when you can expect a harvest. It's just a super cool tool. And then if you pull it all the way out to the side, then it gives you other information here that's very useful. It tells you the number of seeds per 10-foot row you want to plant. It tells you your planting depth in inches, the distance between rows or hills, and the distance between plants after you thin them within your row. And the new one, which I'm excited I'm actually getting a brand new one tomorrow. It also tells you the amount of sun that each crop needs. And then it also has a section at the bottom that tells you good companion planting. People ask about that all the time. So that information is on there. I think that they are now like $7, but it's still totally worth it. And again, it's called Clyde's Garden Planner. So you have all of those things swimming around in your head, and you just kind of put all those together in order to plan your specific garden. And so that's what I'm going to tell you about right now. I just had to kind of clear up those definitions so that you understood what I was talking about when I got to this part. Depending on, this is a portion of the seeds that I sowed last year. I sowed tons of them. So depending on how many you're going to sow for your garden, it can take some time to go through all of this, but once you go through all of it, then you literally can be on autopilot for the rest of the spring, and all of your plants will be ready at the same time to go into the garden, whether they take 3 weeks to germinate or 3 weeks to grow or 10 weeks to grow. So it really is worth putting the effort in on the front end. These are some cool things I'll go back to if I haven't gone over my time at the end. But so I'll just read through the process with you, and then I'll actually show you with the tools that I have how I do it. So the first one that I do is spread all of my seeds out on the table and swim through them and dream about the tomato sandwiches I'm going to have this year. And then step 2 is putting all of the things that are like together. So I had probably 30 different tomato varieties in that. So I put all my tomatoes together, I put all my peppers together, put all my herbs together, put all my cucurbits together, which are going to be like your melons and cucumbers and zucchini and squash. Put all of your different eggplants together if you have different okras or different flowers. So once you gather them all together, then I make my tags. I use these cute little, because I buy them, for the greenhouse, but just these cute little plastic tags. I love these because they last forever, and I need to make sure that things are labeled. Label them with Sharpie, and I'll be able to read this next year if I put this in the garden. So I usually just write the, I would write tomato. For this one, I would write tomato Paul Robeson. Okay, just to go all through my tomatoes for every single variety that I'm going to do. And then step 3 is that I'm going to read through all of my seed packets on the back, the information that they give me. And I'm going to determine how long it is. So most of my tomatoes, the reason I grouped them together is because this information is going to be mostly the same for the things that are alike. So I don't have to read through every single tomato packet that I have. I can just read through a couple and make sure that they're kind of, jiving, and then go with it. So on the back of my tomato packet, it says start indoors 6 to 10 weeks before last frost. So my goal, personally, and everyone can have a different goal, but my goal is to have all of my plants ready to go into the ground on the very first day that they can be planted. So for me here, it's going to be April 15th. That's my 90% frost-free date. So I know that 90% of the time, I'm not going to have a frost after April 15th. Of course, it's Mother Nature, and I've had terrible deep freezes on April 15th. But if I'm ready that day and the weather is good, then I can go ahead and plant. If not, then I just kind of let them hang around for a little bit longer. Anyway, so my tomatoes, I'm going to give the longest time possible because I want them to be big and I want them to be healthy when I'm putting them out there. So I'm going to write 10 weeks on the package. This says 10 weeks before, 6 to 10 weeks before last frost. I'm going to say 10. So I'll have the biggest plant that I can possibly have at that time. And I'm going to write 10 weeks on the outside of that. And I'm going to take all the tags that I made for the tomatoes. I'm going to take a clip and clip them together like this. I'm going to go through all of my, all the crops and do the same thing. Then I'm going to get my week of the year calendar and an accordion file, which I'll show you. The weeks of the year calendar is just the same as a regular calendar, but over in the corner it tells you that January 1st through 7th is also week 1. There's also another one that you can just print online that is super easy to use, and I'll show you that as well. And then the last step is that you just go on your calendar to the day that you want to be able to plant into the garden. And then you go back and remind yourself. So I'm going to plant on April 16th, which is going to be, I believe, week 16. These are going to take 10 weeks to get ready. So I count back on my calendar 10 weeks and I write on there, sow tomatoes, week 6. And and then I slide them into my accordion file, and everything is ready to go. So, okay, stop share. Okay, so this is the calendar that I like to use. It's one of those huge desk calendars. I hope you can see this. But at the first of the year at the office store, these are like $5. And I absolutely love this calendar. So it tells me, just like a regular calendar, you know, the days of the week and the days of the month. But over here, like I mentioned, it also tells me that this is week 1, week 2, week 3, all the way through the whole calendar. So it makes the math a lot easier to do. And like I said, I'm going to take this. I'll find April 15th, which is starred right here. This is the day that I want to, that I ideally would want to have all of my things ready. And then I'm just going to count back if some, let's see, what else do I have? Okay, so my peppers are also going to be 10 weeks. So I'll put those with the tomatoes. I have some gourds, which I will, so these need 5 weeks. My sunflowers need 4 weeks. And what is this? Okra. I have okra, and that's going to take 8 weeks. So I'm going to go through each one of those crops, and I'm going to start at week 16, and I'll count back. And then I have this accordion file, and on the tabs, I've put the weeks. So I have week 5, or week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7, week 8, all the way up through week 15. I don't usually sew things past week 15. So that's enough. And so if I know that I want to plant week 16, my okra is going to take 8 weeks. Then I'll count back to week 8. And on my calendar, I write sow okra. And then I come to my accordion file and I find week 8. And I slide this with its tags into the accordion file. Sunflowers, I want to be ready week 16. Count back 4 weeks. That's going to be week 12. So I take my sunflowers and my sunflower tags, and I go to week 12, and I slide it, drop it into the week 12 slot. When I go through all of my crops and all of my seeds, by the end of it, I have everything in the accordion file in the week that needs to be sown. And so at that point, all I have to do is walk out to the greenhouse, look at the day, find out what week that is by looking at my calendar, and then I just reach into that little envelope and pull out everything that needs to be sown that week. So after I go through the initial planning process, I literally don't have to think about anything else for the rest of the season as I'm planting. And so, yeah, I think that's it. So I don't know if anybody has any questions.
There's a couple in the Q&A. They're asking, okay, so Tony's asking, is there a way to get the PowerPoint? And Jenny, I think you're planning on sharing that PowerPoint with us. Is that correct? So,
yes, I'll show it with you. I'm not really sure.
So just if you'll send it to the media email,
Yep.
then what we'll do is that will actually be available to paid NLHG members, and you will be able to access that in the resources on our website. So let me, once you, when you log, excuse me, when you log onto the website, you'll be able to access that on the resources, and I'll write up an email with instructions on specifically how to do that and send that out so that there's no confusion about how to access the resources that that we have available on there for our members. All right, so Teresa says, when do you start planning? Pretty much at the first of the year. So
Planning or planting?
Planning.
Planning right now, actually. That's what I'm doing. I had all the stuff that I showed you is actually the stuff that I used for planning last year. But I'm placing my orders right now. I'm actually going to go to the store and get my calendar tomorrow. Most things I'm not going to sew until a little bit later, but it, you know, it takes a little while to organize it. It comes up pretty quickly. So I usually start sowing my tomatoes like at the end of February. So it comes up pretty quick. So I want to have everything planned out before then.
Sure. And just to clear up, Debbie asked me to just do a recap of members versus non-members. So the National Ladies Homestead Gathering offers a membership. And what you get with your membership is you get discounts, you get resources. There will be member exclusives that we'll be beginning to offer. Like tonight, one of our giveaways is a member exclusive. So if you are a paid NLHG member and you attended this gathering, there's going to be a giveaway just for you. Also, because this is our first gathering, anyone who is a member, whether or not they attended or not, is entered into a gathering. And so we'll do that later. But yeah, so if you go on our website at nlhg.org, if Jesse, you'll throw that in the comments, there is a place where you can actually join us there. If you're not a member, we'd love to have you, but there's lots of discounts and things available on there. So let's see.
Okay. Yeah, actually I pulled it up.
Okay, perfect. Go for it.
So I can see. Okay, so my long-term seed storage, or that actually my long-term seed storage is terrible. As you can see, I had I had probably $100 worth of seeds that I was going to save for this year. And I saved them in that accordion file in the greenhouse, and the mice ate them all. So I am not a person who stores seeds. I just don't. I try to order exactly what. This is also for the planning. I determine what I want to grow, and then how many. I try to buy the appropriate amount of seeds that aren't going to leave me with extras. Some people are really good at seed saving. It's not my strong suit. I would, if I was, super good, I would have it all like labeled, and I would put it in clips, and I would put it into an airtight container and put it in the freezer. But I usually don't do that. I never do that. Okay. Make plant tags. Yeah, you can. I do things. This is kind of a commercial situation, and so making things like pots and tags is not something that I can do because I need so many. So I order from a greenhouse supply company. Any seed that you can start indoors, do you, or depending on the seed or veggie? So personally, another thing that I just know about myself as a gardener is that I never will thin. Like I feel terrible if I pull a plant out of the ground. I feel like I have to put it into a pot. So I just grow everything for myself in pots. So that when I know, like I have this tomato and I'm going to put a tomato here and I know what I want my final spacing to be. So I just put another one at the final spacing and I don't have to worry about the murder in between, because I will never do it. And then I have a crazy situation that plants aren't getting enough airflow and disease and all that kind of stuff. So I personally do not just plant things straight into the garden, but you can do that. It's just my own personal preference. Is there an expiration date on seeds? Yes. As old seeds, germination goes down over time for sure. It can be depending on how you're storing them. If you're not storing them properly, germination will go down much more quickly, but over time you will definitely lose germination rate. It will decrease. Do you sow indoor or out? I have this greenhouse. That's actually where I am. You can't tell, but I'm actually inside my greenhouse. And over there are my mist benches with bottom heat and shade. And so I sow everything inside because it's completely controlled. So that's just what I do. You can sow them outside in a pot if your weather is good, but usually the reason you're sowing something inside is because your weather's not good enough for them to be outside. So then you know, set up grow lights, and that's kind of a whole different discussion. There's a whole lot of different options for that. A place to print off a calendar. Yes, if you Google search weeks of the year calendar, something will come up called the Epoch Converter, EPOCH, and it is basically just a list. I just printed off the first part. I meant to show you this. I just printed off the first like 17 weeks, but it tells you week 17 is these dates, is this date to this date. And so if you're going back, instead of flipping through the calendar, like here's week 16, flipping through all the pages, you can go, okay, 16 minus 8, go up to here. It's a quicker way to do it. Where do I purchase my plant ID tags? Oh, I get those from, I order all my stuff from Grow South, which is just the greenhouse supply company that I use here. Tell me again about the culture info sheet. Okay, actually, I have one of those. So when I type in culture sheet, I gotta go up here and share my screen, I think. Okay, share screen. Oh no. Sorry, you guys, I'm really trying to be good at this. Shoot. Okay, I can't, it's not coming up.
I can get a list of links
okay,
from you, Jenny. Oh, you got it?
Okay, yeah, I think I'm lagging. Okay, so I typed this in earlier so I could show you this as an example. I typed in culture sheet for begonia from seed. And this is what came up. So this is for, you know, this is for one specific variety, but you can kind of apply it to any begonia that you would want. But you can see how much information you're going to get on this. You get your USDA hardiness zone, you get your heat zone, you get the germination time, 6 to 9 days, the ideal media temperature, whether light is beneficial for germination. So where are you going to cover? What moisture level do you keep it at? But if you type in growing begonias from seed, you can see, like, type it in and you'll see like anybody who's ever tried to grow a begonia, and they'll tell you all these wives' tale kind of ways that they've done it, which, I personally don't want that. I want the science, and I want to know how to grow it, and I want to do it once and be done with it. So that's why this is a good option for that. Which brand is a good greenhouse? We have an Atlas greenhouse, a commercial greenhouse. I don't really know a lot about greenhouses in general. I just know that this Atlas is a huge corporation. They sell a lot of greenhouses, and we love this greenhouse. That's unfortunately sad. I'm sorry, that's all the information I can tell you about that. Which slide did you skip? Oh, let me see. I skipped, let's see. New share. Okay. I think, can you see this, Ginger? Okay, I skipped this because I wasn't sure if I would have time, but these were some of the tools that I use in the greenhouse. And
we don't really have time. We're already over, Jenny.
Okay.
Yeah, we're already past 9 o'clock, so we're gonna have to, you guys can look those up. Jenny, tell us about your Facebook page. We're gonna talk about seed storage in a later, I'm just looking through the Q&A. We're gonna do saving seeds later this year. So we're gonna talk about seed storage, but you want to keep them temperature controlled, out of the light. You can Google that and find lots of good ideas on how to store things. For Clyde's garden planters, you guys check with your chapters. There are some out there in the chapters available for purchase. So check with your chapters if you have a local chapter on the Clyde's garden planters, but you can just Google those to find them. And then, so we've already talked about indoor and outdoor. I can't add to the Q&A, but I want to know, do you start your okra seeds inside?
I do. I start everything inside because I sell veggie plants.
Okay, so all we need to know now is while we're wrapping up, if you can drop a link to your Facebook page in the chat so that they can find you. I'm on a new computer, so I can't even like log into my Facebook right now. So if you'll do that while we're finishing up the gathering, so that people can follow you on Facebook. And then there's, so Brittany, unfortunately, we don't have time to go into like greenhouse and starting seeds in depth about heat or not. That's something you just need to research for your area, because it's going to depend on how early you want to start them and what area you live in as to whether or not you need heat in your greenhouse if you're going to start seeds there. So
yeah, Jenny, and I will put the link in there, and you can send me a message. I'm happy to talk about. I love to geek out about plants. So if you have questions that you want to ask, I'm happy to answer them if I know the answer.
Perfect. Jenny, thank you so incredibly much. This has been fantastic. All right, Cindy.
Okay, just a few thank yous, because obviously a production, if you will, like this does not happen on its own. Huge thank you to Ginger and Jesse, who were the workhorses behind tonight's gathering and future ones. We already have planned all of 2021. So be sure that you guys mark this the first Wednesday of every month. Be sure that you keep that link for the registration so that you can get on here, because as you can see, this is the type of educational information, some kicks and giggles for you too, that will be fun, because you know we're all homesteaders. So make sure that you keep following the information that's sent out to you. The other thing that I wanted to do was to thank specifically Ginger and Jesse, but also Lacy and Jenny. What an amazing teaching time tonight. Thank you, ladies, for the time you put into your presentations. And it just was, oh my gosh, so fabulous to be back together and under teaching again. Teaching that's useful and that we can take with us. Hey, Lacy. The other thing I wanted to do is thank you, our executive staff. Behind the media team is the executive staff that's helping to work out some of the things that need to be done, and our regional directors who helped us get the word out about tonight. So huge thank you to those. Let me just share really, really quick some of the things that we're hoping to get into place for next time. So February, when we get together, we realize, because we're on a national platform, that we have all types of zones around, especially for planting that Jenny mentioned tonight. So what we're hoping to do is to have breakout rooms according to regional areas of the United States. So like tonight, if we got off and you guys wanted to speak more about how you would start planting in your particular zone. I now went from Georgia, which was 8B, and I'm now in zone 3. I can tell you I have a huge learning curve for what I can plant now as opposed to what I'm used to planting. So we're hoping to break it out into regional areas next time. So watch for that information coming out. And then that's all. So I'm gonna let Ginger finish up tonight. Thank you again for coming out. Ginger has some really, really fun stuff to share with you. So listen up and take notes.
Yes. So one of our members in the Shoshone, Idaho chapter, somebody just dropped in the chat, has offered a discount. She has a seed. She has a company that sells seeds, and she has offered a discount. Your board members can get that from the leadership page. Ask them to go do that. But now is the moment that you have all been waiting for. We have 3 different giveaways tonight. The first giveaway is going to be for all paid members. So this is, wait a minute, what am I doing? Sorry. This is anybody who is a paid member of NLHG is entered into this gathering. So here we go. This is called the Wheel of Names. If you're a paid member, you are on this wheel. Good luck, everybody. And our winner is yay, Jerry Lynn from West Bonner, and I will be getting in contact with Jerry Lynn. You will be receiving a 2021 Farmer's Almanac from us. So that is awesome. So here we go. Let me write that down. All right, so next, let's see, our next giveaway is going to be for everyone that is on the video. It is that for all attendees that were here tonight, regardless of whether or not you are a paid member. This is members and guests. We are doing a little giveaway for everyone. So for this giveaway, we are giving away a small accordion file so that you can store your seeds, just like Jenny talked about tonight. So good luck. Here we go. And the winner of the accordion file is Rita Knights. All right, Rita, congratulations. I will be in contact with you about how to get you your, yes, my dog is very excited, Rita, that you are the winner. And the third giveaway, which I cannot do live because it takes a little more research and matching up names, is for all members who actually attended tonight. But I will tell you what we're giving away. So you will also get a small accordion file for your seeds. We've got some plant tags for you to mark your plants with, but this is the whole seed catalog. Now you guys, look how thick this is. This is not a free catalog. This is, I can't even fit my head in the picture with this thing. It's so big. This is Baker Creek Heirlooms catalog, and y'all, their photography in here is so beautiful. You will just want to plant everything, so be warned. I mean, this is pages and pages. It gives you history about where the seeds are from. I mean, this is an awesome catalog. If you don't win, it's worth going and buying one at least one time, and you'll just sit and look. I mean, I love this catalog. It's one of my favorite things. This is this year's. I'm so excited. So I'll be doing that. I'm going to do the Wheel of Names, and I may do it on a YouTube so that everybody can see. But Yeah, so they do a free catalog, but it is much thinner. It's more like a regular seed catalog, but this one is like everything that they offer, and it is, I mean, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely, whoever does their photography is amazing. So anyway, that is for our members that attended tonight. Again, I'm going to have to match up our attendees list and our members list. Guys, thank you so incredibly much. Yes, Audrey, that catalog is dangerous, let me tell you. You need lots of sticky notes and lots of money. Okay, so on to next month. Next month, again, we're doing chicks. Shantae Ablett from Crooked Joe Hatchery is going to be with us to talk about what kind and how to pick out the right breed for you. And Jesse is going to throw a link in the chat box for you to register. So if you, there it is, she just popped it in there. If you had a great time tonight, you want to join us next time, just go ahead and click on that link, register for next month, and it's done. If not, if you don't want to register right now because you're not sure, keep an eye out. There'll be links on Mighty Networks. We'll be sending them in the newsletter. They'll be all over the place, just like they were this month. Guys, thank you so much. I'm sorry we went a little bit over, but I'm sure, I hope you didn't mind. It was a lot of good information. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We will see you next month. Lots of love, stay safe, and we'll see you in February. Bye.